Camstudio is a free or open source program that you download to your computer, and with it you can record both the activity and audio of your computer. It works great for creating videos for support issues, frequently asked questions, product demonstrations, and my favorite, video-based information products that you can sell. Did I mention Camstudio is free? Camstudio is not Camtasia Studio. They are nowhere near related to one another except the closeness of the name. Camstudio is only a recorder, where Camtasia Studio is both a recorder and an awesome editor, but it is going to set you back about $300. And oh, by the way, Camstudio is free. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the basic settings to get you on your way to recording your videos with Camstudio. Now, there are a ton of different settings you can adjust to your specific needs, so my goal here is to point you in the right direction if you want to deviate from any of the settings that I'm going to show you here in this video. So let's get to work. Now, first off, there's a couple of things you need to download. Number one, you need to download Camstudio, and you can get that from camstudio.org. But before you get there, I want you to first download this free codec. Now, what a codec is, it's kind of like a zip program for videos. Without using a codec, the raw video that you're recording, for say a 30-second video, might end up being somewhere around, let's say 200 gigabytes. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but bear with me here. With the codec, that same video, without reducing the quality whatsoever, might be 2 megabytes. Yeah, that big of a reduction. Again, a bit of an exaggeration, but I think you get my point. So with the proper codec, you're going to have the same quality video at the end, only it's going to be much smaller in file size. Now, there's a ton of different codecs out there you can choose. So I would say if you're open to suggestions, I would go with FFD Show. And you can get that at sourceforge.net/projects/FFD Show, and it is free, so don't worry about it. Come on in here, download this, install it, and you'll probably have to reboot your computer for it to show up inside of your Camstudio software. So once you got this out of the way, come on back over here to Camstudio, scroll on down the page here a bit, and of course read all that stuff. And this first green button is the one you want to download your Camstudio software. At this point, it's version 2.7. Now you'll probably see this guy right here. It's another codec that is suggested by Camstudio, but I'm suggesting that you don't use this one. It's totally up to you. I've never used this, so I can't speak personally about how good or not good it is, because you see, Camstudio comes with a limit of 2 gigabytes before it crashes. So the output or the video size has to be less than 2 gigabytes, and in its raw state without any codec, you're looking at about maybe 4 or 5 minutes in length. And that's basically how long the video should be anyway, but that's beside the point. With this lossless codec, you're probably going to get closer to the 9 to 10 minute mark. But with this codec here, you're going to get closer to 2 to 3 hours before you reach that 2 gigabyte file size. So there's a big difference. And another point I want to make before we get on to the settings is right here, checking out the forum from Camstudio. Go and click on that real quick here. Now, this is a very active forum, so you can get a ton of information out of here. The drawback to this, though, is that you cannot post any questions here unless you're a member, and it's by invite only. So before you have to use it, before you have to post any questions, I would say come on in here, apply for membership. It doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of time to apply for membership. Basically, you're sending them an email saying, hey, invite me. And then it might take some time before you receive that invite. And they're kind of explaining that to you right here. So anyway, if nothing else, bookmark this site for reference. And like I said, as soon as you can, apply for membership. Okay, now then you just come on back here, download the program. After you've got the codec installed, download, install this, pretty straightforward stuff. And once you get all that stuff done, open it up. Now, before we get into the various settings, I want to show you that right out of the box, Camstudio will work. So without messing around with anything, just click on the record button. By the way, record, pause, stop. This changes the look of the interface. Click it once, that's what you get. Click it twice, that's what you get. Click it third time, and you come back to normal. This one covers some of the annotations, and we're not going to get into that, but anyway, now you know what that covers. And this guy here toggles the record output from AVI, which I say leave it alone. Leave it at AVI, or you can click on that and record to SWF, which is kind of an older flash version. I would say don't mess with SWF at all, but it is there just in case you want to do what I say not to do. So leave it at AVI and you're good to go. Now then, let's go ahead and click on record, and see the little flashy corners there. that's the size, out of the box, that's the size of your recording. And you see here, this guy right here, which you can move out of the way, tells you this is the size that's being recorded right now. We're up to about 30 megabytes, and we're only into, right now, 20 seconds, 40 megabytes. That's pretty outrageous. So let's go ahead and cut this now to stop. And by default, it's set up to save the recordings to your videos directory. So let's go ahead and give this a name, Test 01, right out of the box. And then the player comes up as soon as it's saved, and you can play it. Now, by default, right out of the box, no audio. So that's one of the first things we're going to be changing. Another thing we're going to be changing is adjusting the codec. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the size of that file, because I think it's right around 50 megabytes. Let me see, right here we are, Test 01, almost 60 megabytes, and under 30 seconds in length. That's going to be a fat file if you want to get any kind of recording out of that at all. So let's come on back here and make some adjustments. Now, let's first go through these real quick here. Pretty self-explanatory, but a record, pause, stop, just like we've got right here. Region, by default, it's fixed region. I would say leave it at that. Well, let's go ahead and click on this so we can make some adjustments to the size. Now, my suggestion is to go HD. That's high def, and that's 1280 by 720. 1280 here, 720 in height. This is the size of the videos uploaded to YouTube, or the good ones anyway. But for the sake of this video, because that's what I'm recording right now, is 1280 by 720. I don't want this to be the exact same size. Let's go a little bit smaller. Say 640 by 360, and click OK. Now that's the region. Under options, this is where it gets fun. And this is where you can really do some personalization too. Now, as far as adjusting the settings beyond what I'm going to be showing you here, I would suggest that you set a benchmark while you're doing your testing. Get you a notepad and pen and write down the different outputs, the different file sizes for those particular settings that you're going to be making here. And record the same thing. Like, for example, record the Camstudio page here. Scroll down a little bit, say about halfway. Read some text, read the same text, scroll down to the same spot on each one of your tests so that the only thing different is your settings. Everything else is the same. Use that as kind of a benchmark to go by. Okay, that said, let's get on back over to this guy here. Come on into options. First thing we want to do is record the audio, because again, by default, it's not recording. So go ahead and click on this one here, record audio from microphone. Come on back into options, then come to audio options for microphone. Select the microphone that you have plugged into your computer, and if you don't have a microphone, my suggestion is USB type microphones, not the kind that has a little pointy plug-in like you might plug into your cell phone. Get a USB ranging anywhere between 10 to a couple $100. But I've got this one here plugged in, and that's what I'm going to go with. Recording format, the default, that's no good. So click on that button, get the drop down, select a 44.1K mono 16-bit, because a majority of people will put up with the nasty video if the audio is perfect. But if the video is perfect and the audio is nasty, chances are they're not going to be sticking around very long at all. So you really want to get the best audio recording possible. Compressed format, PCM, leave that as it is. Everything else on this page here is just fine the way it is. Just select the right microphone, change the recording format to 44.1K mono 16-bit. Everything else is fine. Click on OK. Come on back to options, video options. Change out this guy here, because that's what's going to make your fat file. You don't want that. That's the default. You want to go for the FFD show codec that you already downloaded and installed. Right there. Don't worry about configuring. You can go in here and adjust all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in here you can mess with, but I would say, for the sake of this video anyway, leave it at the default. Everything else on here is just fine the way that it is. That simple. Change your codec, click on OK, you're ready to roll. Now, there are other options in here you can mess with, but for the sake of this video, that's all we need. Turn on the audio to microphone, adjust the audio output, come into video, change the codec, you're good to go. Click on record. And let's move that in here. There's our flashy corners there. And you can see here the time elapsed. We're going to shut it off at a little under 30 seconds so we can compare it to the 27-second part of the first video that we recorded. And let's come on up here, get ready to stop. And there. Okay, so we're pretty close anyway. Let's go ahead and save that as test 02. And by the way, this one should be bigger than the first one because this first one does not have audio on top of the video. This one, Test 2, has both the audio and the video, which actually will make a much larger file size. And then this pops up as soon as it's saved. Click on play.
Let's move that in here. There's our flashy.
There it is.
There.
You can hear the audio.
And you can see here.
Okay. Now then, let's open up that folder and compare the two files. Ooh, check that out. Almost right at the same time, 27 seconds. But this one here with audio, under 3 megabytes. This one here is under 60 megabytes. So you can see the big difference there in just changing that codec. So those are the basic settings for your Camstudio output. Stick with those and you'll do perfectly. Again, you can go in and play around with it, make other adjustments if you find the need to. But right out of the box, with these small adjustments, you can have a perfect recording using the free Camstudio software. That's going to bring us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.